Here's a careful floor plan continued. So once you guys laid out kind of the walls, I'd like you guys to put in some grid lines. So you're going to come here and you're going to go to this grid and let's just lay. What I want to do is I want to lay grid lines where I have some major kind of walls that I can use to line up other walls. So obviously at the very uppermost of part of the project, maybe this along this major um, divide here, and then maybe at the end. I know that this is a stairwell. I do want to line up my stairwell, so maybe another grid line here. And I will renumber these things, so it's not a problem. And then we'll do another grid line going to the top. Line up this garage. So you don't have to use the same placement for the grid lines that I'm doing. I'm just kind of showing you how to do the grid lines. You guys can place them wherever you want. Like for instance, if this is too close, like this, I could just do one grid line and later just dimension this wall off of that grid line, and that should be also acceptable. Let me see. Also on my floor plans, these look pretty big, and I noticed that I was on a 1/8 inch view scale. So there you go. So I have my grid lines, and then I'm just going to drop in a few doors and windows, and then I'm going to explain to you why Revit out of the box. I like to use some other types of doors and other types of windows. So for now, I just want to show you the doors. So if you guys go to the door and use a single flush door, and by the way, per code in residential, you want your doors to be at least 32 inches wide. So if I have for instance, if I have a door here, and then I have another door here, sometimes I like to show one of the doors somewhat closed, so that way you don't get this kind of overlap. And I noticed that the Revit out of the box, it doesn't give you that option. So the door type that I like to use is if you go to your insert and go to load family, and under doors, under residential, like these aren't really loaded in quite yet. I don't know why, but so I'm going to just use this door interior single panel, and we'll load more stuff as I discover more quirky things with the base Revit file. But you're going to load that, and you want to be selective. You don't want to load in all of the doors. Most of the doors are going to be 6'8", so with inch tall mark. And I know that I'm going to use 32-inch doors a lot, and I'm probably going to use maybe 34 and 36. And then if you have a closet door and things like that, that people aren't going to go in and out of necessarily, but maybe they're storage closets, I might use like a 24-inch door. So I'm just going to bring in those 4 for now. And then you'll see that those doors behave very differently. So this is the one that we just imported, and the single flush is what was in the Revit template. So if I use this door, what's really cool about this is that a couple of things. You get a little bit more detailing of the jamb, which you don't get here, which could be cool. But more importantly, if you select that, you'll get the swing angle. So I can actually change that to like a 15 degree and it'll close the door. Or you can't do that with this type of door. So I'm going to change out these two guys to a single panel doors. And then I can graphically have a 90-degree opening on one door, and have like a semi-opening on another door. And I think that looks a lot nicer. And just to keep the Revit files clean, what you want to do is you want to come back into this family here and go to the doors. And since we're not going to use this, I would go ahead and delete that door system. That way you just have just the one type. It'll keep your Revit file much lighter and things like that. So why don't you guys finish out all the doors, and I'll be back with the next video for windows. Alright guys, so let me also do a demonstration on the Revit windows and a couple of interesting things about Revit windows. So Revit window out of the box is actually pretty good. So I'm going to use, let's say, a casement window which actually swings out like a door, which is interesting. So if I place a window, it actually shows the swing of that window, which is actually quite nice. And then let's add another window. I'm just going to use like a double hung next to it. And just know that this represents the outside of the window. And then if I go to this elevation here, here's my two Revit windows. What's really nice about these Revit windows is, first of all, it shows you the operation, which is nice, and then it's a double hung, so the bottom goes up, the top comes down, they both move. But what's really also cool is that if you come down here, it has all of these kind of extra tools that you may or may not know. So for instance, on the exterior trim, I could have an exterior flat with a sill, which shows you that. Or I can just go to picture frame, apply that, and you don't get the sill, it's just plain. You could actually, right now only two of them are loaded, and you could actually load additional profiles for the window, which I'll show you at another video. And the pattern, I could also show you so that you can get more divisions. And on the interior, of course, you can have a sill or flat. You could actually turn off the Multons and things like that. So the Revit windows are actually quite nice. Just know that you can actually change kind of the aesthetics, where you have one, this is without a sill, this one is with the bottom sill, and then you can also add more intelligence to these things. So how do I add additional trim? So again, this one it's just a flat, this one has a sill, and Revit actually comes out of the box with a couple of other kind of cool window details. So in order for you to add those additional things, you're going to go to Load Family, and you're going to go to the Windows, and then there's a folder called Nested Families. So you double click that, and then you want to go to the trim. Well, Multon is like different types of divisions. Like this is a 1x3, which actually is quite nice. So I'm actually going to bring that in. So I'm going to import that. So that's in there. I'm going to load family again, and I'm going to go to the trim. It has kind of like these colonial that wasn't there. This one wasn't there. I mean, be careful not to put so many options, because I think it gives you too many. But this is, let me see. So I'm going to take that. Exterior. Yeah, I'll just take all the 4 exterior options. I believe the flat's already in there. So now it's loaded. Let me kind of show you the 4 differences here. That for a sec. This one is exterior flat picture frame. This one will be, so you obviously just want the exterior option. We're going to do the colonial. Oh, actually they all changed. I guess that's good, because they're all in the same type. Which is good, because if you have like 50 windows and if you have to change them one at a time, that would not be fun. And then here's the Victorian with the 2-inch cornice. So that changes, and then you can do inch cornice. So it's kind of cool, I think, that Revit gives you out of the box all these kind of pre-designed decorative windows. So to me, I don't care which windows you use, just know that you have that type of functionality. And so yeah, so finish off the floor plan, finish off all my windows and doors, and I will see you back in the next video.